This episode of Deep Dive Unknown could be
our best yet.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we've got quite a stack of material articles, some research notes, and honestly, it all points to something pretty wild happening right now.
Yeah, the world of artificial intelligence. It seems to be evolving at a speed and, well, in ways that might just bend your mind a bit.
That's the plan for this deep dive, right?
Yeah.
Cut through the noise.
Exactly. We've tried to pull out the most critical nuggets, the key insights from all this stuff to help you really grasp what's significant, what's surprising, and, yeah, maybe a little unsettling about where AI is today.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Starting with something that feels really personal almost.
Yeah, personal. We saw this research describing a new AI tool from scientists at Mass General in Boston. It's called FaceAge.
FaceAge, right. And the idea is it can look at just a picture of you.
It's a photo.
Yeah, just a photo. And it doesn't just guess your age, like your chronological age, but your biological age. And maybe even give hints about your overall health.
It's suggesting your face holds clues way beyond just wrinkles, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that connects actually to a broader point in one of the papers, research in the Lancet Digital Health Journal.
Right, I saw that. It highlights how quickly AI's capabilities are expanding in medicine generally.
And what's really striking there, or one of the striking things, is the report that AI is getting to a point where it might not just spot cancer.
Which is already huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
But also potentially identify if the treatment someone's getting is actually failing.
And that's where it gets, well, really thought-provoking, maybe even a bit terrifying, as one source put it, because that level of insight, it opens up this really deep, okay, maybe speculative for now, but deep ethical question that the material brings up, AI possibly predicting lifespan.
Oh, boy.
And the question is, just put right out there, would you want to know?
That's a massive question. If some AI could give you an estimated timeline, how does that change anything right now?
What would you do with that knowledge? The sources sort of muse about it, you know. Would people suddenly prioritize family time or say things left unsaid, maybe sort out their affairs?
It's that really strange mix, isn't it? On one hand, amazing potential health insights. Incredible.
Yeah, great potential.
But then this idea of an AI basically handing you a potential expiry date. It feels, dystopian's a word that comes to mind, really shows the two sides of these advancements.
And the speed, that's the thing, how fast some of this seems to be moving from just theory to maybe being practical. That's why we're doing this deep dive, really.
Absolutely.
Okay, so from the super personal, let's shift gears. Let's go to a different part of the AI world described in another piece. This one feels almost like, I don't know, a spy thriller.
Huh. Yeah, this part's intriguing. It draws on these claims from an anonymous online account.
Yeah.
I rule the world, Mo.
Right, and nobody knows who this is. The notes say it could be a real insider leaking stuff, or maybe it's sophisticated disinformation, a bot trying to mislead. We just don't know.
They definitely need a pinch of salt here. But the claims themselves, if true, are, well, extraordinary.
They are. This account reportedly shared info from inside Chinese DeepSeek labs about a system they're working on called DeepSeek R2.
And the claims about R2, they're not just like small improvements. It's described in the material as a completely different species of intelligence.
Whoa. Okay. Operating on principles, supposedly, that are unknown in the West.
And they've apparently ditched transformer architectures, which is, you know, the foundation for pretty much all the big AI models we hear about, like GPT.
Right, the standard.
They've moved to something called recursive cognition lattices. Now, the material doesn't really explain what that is, but it frames it as a totally different way of computing things.
And get this. The claim is the math behind it is so new, it needs new notation. Like, our current math symbols don't cut it.
Which is hard to even wrap your head around.
Hmm.
And then there's the efficiency claim, a reported 400 times improvement in reasoning per teraflop.
400 times. Not like 10% better. Orders of magnitude.
Yeah. And because of that supposed leap, the material suggests our standard AI tests, the benchmarks we use, they're literally meaningless for R2.
They just don't apply.
Apparently not. And maybe the most mind-bending claim. R2 supposedly develops new mathematical frameworks on the fly.
It doesn't just use math, it invents math.
That's the claim. Invents new math specifically to solve the problem it's facing.
Wow. There's that anecdote cited. A physicist worked on a problem for 15 years.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Gave it to R2.
Solved in seconds.
But the answer was, in this new notation nobody understood. It took human mathematicians 3 days just to translate it back into regular math.
Incredible. And there was another one too, right? About superconductors.
Yeah, designed and simulated a room temperature superconductor, apparently, including how to actually make it with existing tech, all in under an hour.
Under an hour. And the material even hints that physical samples might already exist based on R2's designs.
And then it gets even weirder, maybe darker. The claims about biological integration.
Described as nightmare fuel by the source.
Yeah, two-way neural interfaces making current tech look primitive. Cognitive enhancement in human trials already.
Okay, again, gotta remember the source. Anonymous, possibly unreliable.
Definitely. And the source even mentions, kind of confusingly, a conflicting memory about what experts used to think about DeepSeek, suggesting maybe it wasn't seen as that advanced before. Adds another layer of,
Right. But whether these specific R2 claims are 100% accurate or not, the material uses them to paint this picture of dramatically different perspectives.
Yeah, like one view, maybe the US view, is treating AI development as a normal technology race. Business as usual, almost.
While another perspective, maybe reflected in these R2 claims, sees it as an extinction-level transformation of civilization.
The analogy used was stark.
Yeah.
Like one side debating the ethics of gunpowder while the other side is already in a nuclear power race.
And we're just reporting what the source material says here, obviously not endorsing any particular view.
Of course. But it certainly highlights potentially very different approaches and perceived stakes.
Wow. Okay. Let's maybe take a breath and try to get some historical perspective on this kind of rapid change. There was another piece we looked at.
Oh, yeah, the watches from the 50s and 60s.
Right. To make the hands glow in the dark, they used radioactive material. Radium, right.
Literally painted it on.
Yeah.
And the story goes, the dangers weren't obvious at first.
No, like, people might notice weird things. The example was, hey, how come his arm keeps losing all his hair right where he wears his watch? Little clues.
Right. Eventually, they figured out safer ways to make them glow. And to show a watch was safe, radiation-free, they added that little circle.
Well, the lollipop on the second hand.
Yeah, it was a signal. This one's okay.
So the parallel the source draws is, well, it's pretty pointed. Are we, with AI right now, kind of like they were back then with radiation, working with something incredibly powerful?
Whose full implications, the potential dangers, we don't really understand yet.
Exactly. And the source makes this really bold claim. AI is going to make nuclear stuff look like nothing.
That's the statement. It just could dwarf even huge shifts like nuclear power.
Which takes us right into the defense implications mentioned in the material. The argument there is that AI in defense is moving so fast, it changes the whole nature of conflict.
It raises this really fundamental question. What does war even look like when decisions and reactions happen almost instantly?
And the prediction from the source is, well, that's chilling. You might not even know you've lost a war because for you, it hasn't even started yet.
The idea being it's won and lost in moments. By AI systems predicting and countering every move faster than humans can even perceive.
Like playing a video game on the absolute hardest setting.
Yeah, where your base just gets obliterated in seconds before you can even click the mouse. That's the analogy used.
It's a sobering thought for sure. Okay, finally, let's bring it back home to something impacting us right now, every day. Privacy. AI is really blurring those lines, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's fascinating to look at how our comfort level with surveillance has shifted as the material outlines. Remember the pushback against easy pass tracking tolls?
Oh, yeah. Or street cameras, like that Ybor City example back in 2000. Fingerprints, early face recognition tech. People were wary.
And compare that to now. We all carry phones tracking our GPS constantly. We click agree on privacy policies without reading.
Guilty.
We use our faces to unlock everything. our acceptance of being tracked, identified, it's changed dramatically.
And AI is pouring fuel on that fire. The material points to that Wall Street Journal piece by Joanna Stern. I've been wearing a wire everywhere since February.
Right. The premise is just that. She
Yeah.
voluntarily wore this little $50 bracelet
$50
that just records everything she says
a day.
all day and uses AI to process it, summarize her life like a personal assistant.
And what it captured, it's kind of astonishing reading her account. Important meetings, sure, but also arguments with her kids, chats with employees, even her late-night bathroom routines, stuff she said she couldn't even share publicly.
Yeah, the reaction in the source material is immediate.
Yeah.
Like a panopticon. That idea of being constantly watched, maybe without knowing it.
And it makes you ask, how do you have a private conversation anymore if everything might be recorded and analyzed?
And she apparently tested other similar gadgets already out there, costing like $150, $200, designed to record and transcribe everything said by you or just around you.
But here's the kicker. She was apparently blown away by how fast the AI turned all that chatter, the ramblings, into useful, actionable info.
Yeah, useful. But then there's that direct quote from her diary or notes, February 24th, 5:15 p.m. This bracelet is really effing creepy.
Captures the dilemma perfectly. Because the material does acknowledge the upside, right? The potential for these things to be super assistants, remembering conversations, reminding you of things.
Yeah, the useful side. But the prediction made is pretty stark. These assistant bots, listening constantly, summarizing, they'll be powerful and everywhere by the end of this year.
Which leads to the material's blunt conclusion on this. It's the death of private conversations.
And the advice offered. Just act like you're always on television. Assume you're being recorded.
Wow. So, okay, wrapping this deep dive up, we've touched on AI potentially reading our health, maybe even lifespan. These wild, unverified claims of a totally new kind of AI, historical warnings about powerful tech, AI changing warfare, and massive erosion of privacy.
Yeah, the common thread through all these sources seems to be the incredible speed and the often unknown, unforeseen nature of where AI is going. It's bringing changes that are, well, remarkable, definitely life-altering, and for a lot of people, deeply unsettling.
So here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener, based on all this. Just think about how much your own feelings about technology, about privacy, have already shifted in just the past, say, 5 or 10 years.
It's true.
If the kind of acceleration we've talked about today, described in these sources, actually continues, what assumptions that you hold right now about the future might you need to start questioning?
Thanks as always for watching today, and if you like our videos, please don't forget to click on the like button and comment in the comments section. And if you already haven't done so, why not subscribe? It is completely free.